They come out of turn number 13, 14, and 15, coming to the green flag this time through. Eric Magnuson out in front, Chris DeLucia alongside. Watch that all-wheel drive Subaru. Here we come. Green flag, we're underway. GRIDLIFE GT at Chicagoland, Autobahn Country Club. Into turn one, Magnuson clears DeLucia. And then for looking fourth place there, David Calzada middle, 3 wide here as the 244 BMW goes around the outside.
Yeah, look at Galerius taking the actual pit blend line, which is pretty much the rain line at this track. Very, very outside line for all of the grip possible.
Onto the backstretch towards turn 4. Look at Hans Horpedal in the Corvette. Goes around the outside of the DeLucia BMW, and it looks like he'll move into second place. Here's Anthony Pacelli offline there into turn 4. Look at DeLucia sideways there as we watch from the onboard in the Ginetta G56, again courtesy of Clark Camburn and Apex Broadcast, who have this car kitted out with a really cool onboard camera. This is going all the way to Laguna Seca and back with a server rack on board their production trailer that's all the way across the country. So really cool kit here to help out our show. And up the back straightaway now, look at second place. That's Gorelius in the 244 BMW now attacking Hans Horpedal for that second spot.
Yeah, Magnuson here has a huge advantage out front with no spray in front of him that he has to avoid, and he also gets to pick any line he wants. Meanwhile, if you go side by side with somebody, you're going to get stuck here.
Look at this rain line by Gorelius. He's going to take the lead away from Magnuson around the outside at turn 9. That was really impressive. He's very savvy around here in the wet, but again, right on the racing line there, Magnuson's going to throttle up on the backstretch and they'll drag race towards 11.
Magnuson has the advantage here inside line, offline on the brake zone into turn 11. He's going to have a way easier time braking.
Right on board the Ginetta here, just going around the outside of Hans Horpedal. Really deep in the brakes for Pacelli as we watch the leaders up the road side by side. And Pacelli's off at the end of the back straightaway, drives straight into the grass. There's no grip out there. He'll pull the car back towards the pavement, but lose 1 spot, maybe more than that. As there goes Pilipchik, Colin King, and it's just a slow trek back on course as they make their way around the first lap. That's how tricky the conditions are. But Gorelius, maybe some track knowledge playing into factor here.
6th to 1st over the first lap. I have to assume he's been here in the wet before. He's picking exactly the right lines to take.
Alex Moss there with the highest braking force on this opening lap, but notice that most drivers are a G or under, and that's just because there's just not that much grip out there, Dana, but I'm actually impressed that Moss is able to generate 1.2 given the wet conditions out there. Yeah,
that's just going to be a case of driving off of the normal racing line. I hope with BMW going off into the grass, struggling for traction, everybody.
Yeah, same story there on fire laps, Alex Moss. Actually, I have a feeling that Moss isn't actually out there, so that's actually pulling. Oh, no, he is out there, P9. But look at Gorelius, just 1 G is he's able to pull. We saw 1.6, 1.7 G in the practice and qualifying laps yesterday. So just great demonstration of how much grip goes away in conditions like this. But I venture to say that this driver here in this BMW M2 CS Racing and having some motorsport traction control and ABS, that also has to play into effect here.
Yeah, that's a good point about the motorsport traction control. It's a pretty big difference, but the biggest difference is going to be just knowledge of where to put the car. Traction control can only help you so much, but if you're putting the car in the best possible position, I mean, as you can see, he's driving completely offline, not worrying about getting close to any of the curbs. He's going to brake offline mid-track, especially into turn 11 here, as you saw from the onboard. From Pacelli, it's extremely slippery into the brakes.
Yeah, that's Valdes Gorelius again. This is his first time ever in GRIDLIFE wheel to wheel, and he's showing his stuff here as we ride back on board with Anthony Pacelli, who drove off track there in turn 11 last time around, but is still 6th place over DeLucia. So even with that mistake, a little bit of knowledge of driving in the wet. See him braking sort of center track there, trying to run down Eric Pilipchik, and he's not going to turn very well, but as soon as you get to the edge of the racetrack, that's where that grip level is going to come back in. You have to trust that you're going to catch it. Touch the paint there, that's a little slippery, and you see that grass all packed in the grill there from that little off-track excursion.
Yeah, hopefully that's not going to cause any issues. It's not very warm outside right now, so hopefully should be okay.
Yeah, great camera angle off the rear wing there as well. As we head down the front straightaway, watch the min and max speeds here. We're down about 15 miles an hour from where we were in qualifying. As far as top speeds are concerned, Eric Magnuson, 112 is the fastest we saw that lap around Cornelius 108.6, but look at the min speed, 34 miles an hour. Alex Moss is doing really nice, actually, unless that data's pulling from qualifying yesterday, if that Firelink isn't fired up. And look at this, lap 3 just now, Colin King matching Magnussen. Cornelius consistently a little slower at the end of the straights.
Yeah, but all of the corner speed is where it adds up. It looks like about 7 seconds a lap faster on that last lap. Very smart line choice and just not taking any unnecessary risks at this point.
And there's the battle for second place, about 20 car lengths between them. There's Eric Magnussen, and Eric Pilipczyk in behind him. And I think coming into this event, looking at the entry list, you would have expected Magnussen to really be the driver to beat, given his experience, his wins in IBOT GLTC. But Cornelius really the dark horse here in that 244. Eric Pilipczyk, again, I think local track knowledge helping them a lot. They do a lot of laps here around Autobahn Country Club. It's Eric Magnussen's first time here as well, Dana. So you don't have a lot of laps to really understand where that wet line is going to form. And there's some repaved sections of this racetrack as well that will change the grip corner to corner.
That's an excellent point. I'd like to see Magnussen's lap times over the course of the race. I'm sure he's figuring out every single lap. He's figuring out a little bit more.
On board again with Anthony Pacelli. Straight line. And actually catching the drivers up there in third and second, Eric Pilipczyk. But again, watch that. He's avoiding that inside lane. You can actually see where the track is greasy on the inside lane. And that was a much better run through there. But look at the throttle percentage, under 30% as he tries to accelerate out. And lap times 2:01.572. What are we, 30-something seconds off what we saw in qualifying yesterday?
Yeah, I was not exaggerating when I said how icy this track is. It is very, very, very slippery in the wet. And offline is required just to stay on the racetrack. In fact, a little bit of bravery is you have to basically run the outside edge of the racetrack. You have very little margin for error.
Yeah, actually, Pacelli's found some time there. That was his best lap, and I think a lot of drivers are starting to build some confidence. Alex Moss is up to 5th place. So that's your fight for second all on screen. They're tiptoeing around here. And I can't really recall in memory the last time I watched a wet race here on broadcast here in GRIDLIFE. I don't think we've had one before. Look at this for second. Pilipczyk in the E92. BMW will run up behind the E46 of the 330 of Magnussen. Again, this is Pilipczyk's first wheel-to-wheel event with us here, and he's actually demonstrated quite a bit of aptitude around this south course here at Autobahn Country Club, where Magnussen's experience is just carried over from other tracks that are similar, like Carolina Motorsports Park earlier in the year.
Yeah, Pilipczyk will want to make quick work of getting around Magnussen here. He takes the outside line. Look at all the grip on the outside.
Oh, they touched wings there.
They did touch wings.
They didn't touch bodywork, but clipped each other's wings. Pilipczyk completes the pass for second. Magnussen a little off pace there, struggling to get grip. And you see Pilipczyk just kind of riding the edge of the road, and that's right up against the white line is where that grip is going to be. And looking last time around, a little quicker for that 247. And by a little quicker, I mean 4 seconds quicker.
Yeah, and then Pacelli is now going to have the sights set on Magnussen as well.
So Pilipczyk's car kind of walking away on him. All the while, Valdes Gorelias out front by a long ways. And have a look at speeds at turn 4. This is 20 miles an hour down, data from what we saw in qualifying yesterday. But how about a 10-mile-an-hour difference between Valdes Gorelias and Eric Magnussen, the pole sitter? That is the difference between a driver who's got track knowledge, who's got a car that's really well set up for the wet, and that difference is staggering. Really cool insights powered by Fire Laps, giving us a look inside the data in real time here. And as we watch Pilipczyk 3.4 seconds slower and a 22-second advantage. I mean, it's like that Bosch ABS traction control doing work in that BMW, but also Valdes Gorelias really unleashing the knowledge here. The car at this point isn't going to matter quite as much as the driver's knowledge as we run on board with Anthony Pacelli, who's closing in on Magnussen there for third.
Yeah, they call it the great equalizer for a reason. The rain really brings out the best of the best drivers, at least in the low traction conditions.
It's a handful right now for Pacelli as well, just watching him kind of hustle that car around. The rear end wants to be in front of the front end at the moment. And there's your leader. New to wheel-to-wheel in GRIDLIFE, but clearly at home in the conditions right now as the track dries up after a lunchtime storm. It was dropping hail, pretty good sized hail around the facility for about 10 minutes. Again, riding the edge of the road, just don't touch the painted candy stripes. Those are very slick.
That might have looked like he went a little too far wide, but that's really just the line you have to take. All of the grip is on the unused pavement where it's not polished over. So you have to run it to the edge of the road where nobody else is driving when it's dry.
Yep, and that time, starting lap 6 now. That was his best lap of the race, a 1:50.653. You see him straddling the pit exit line as well. That's great car control. That white line will be slippery, so if you can put it between your tires, you're better off. And here's your min-max speeds of lap 5. And again, Gorlias now carrying a bit more speed off into the corners, 114.3 miles an hour. But look at the min speed still, 37 to 27.
Yes.
10 miles an hour up everywhere for Gorlias in the 244.
And it's showing when you look at the time delta, and Pite's just letting him by. He sees the faster car. He's probably going to want to even see where he's driving. He's caught him up so quickly.
Yeah, Magnussen in the 330 has Anthony Pacelli right behind him as well. That's the 3rd place BMW and the 4th place Ginetta. That's a battle for position going on heading into turn 5. Alex Moss improves his best lap of the race. There's Pilipchik in 2nd. Not closing in on Gorlias. But he's done a pretty nice job putting himself in this position. And coming into the back of this shot, you're going to see just under the camera there, that was Magnussen and Pacelli, P3 and P4. And here they come into shot. There's the 330 that we were just talking about. And right behind is that Ginetta. Battle for 3rd here with only 3.5 minutes to go.
Pacelli's going to have to figure out a way around him too, and by now I'm sure Eric Magnussen has learned most of the wet line around here. He's been seeing some of the lines of cars in front of him, where they're driving away from and where they're not, and just by experimenting himself. So Pacelli's going to have to figure out a different way around, because he's going to be taking the rain line, the same line Magnussen will be taking now.
Yeah, half a second better last time for the Ginetta in trail. And you see Magnussen sort of learning that outside groove is going to have a little grip, and you see him little lateral slide, but he pulled away, leaving turn 10. Pacelli seems to struggle to get out of the corner over there, but love riding on board here to watch him sort of hunt down the middle of the racetrack. It should be 2 laps to go this time here, so he's going to run out of opportunity, but look at the brakes. He closes in big time, deep on the brakes. He's going to take the racing line, but you see the car just push.
Yes, he'll have a harder time getting back on power here, and it's not been raining now for a good 45 minutes, so the track is drying, and the conditions are changing, which means at some point during this race, the dry line will not be a no-no anymore. It will be an actual viable strategy. You'll have to sort of blend towards the dry line closer and closer each lap.
Yeah, look at the braking force here. Eric Magnussen starting to push the limits a little bit more, 0.94 G. This is not quite half of, or a little bit more than half of what we saw yesterday. But Colin King also up there on the list now in that number 21 Viking Performance Corvette. 2 minutes to go. Look at the min speeds now. Magnussen's pulled in a little bit on that delta, but we were, what, 70 miles an hour min speed? Gorlias is now at 74, so picking up a little confidence late in the going here.
Little confidence, little more knowledge of the track, where exactly the grip is and where the grip is moving towards as the race continues.
I mean, 31 seconds up. Oh, Calzada's off there in the 274. He's down a lap to the race leader right now, and this is going to open the door for Magnussen. You see Pacelli fighting the car here. Tons of counter steer in pursuit of this gold BMW.
You can see on that onboard just how nervous the car is in certain sections of the track. The steering wheel is never, ever straight.
No, and he's, again, watch that puddle on the inside there, going up the inside. I see a white flag waving. It will be the last lap around Autobahn Country Club for GRIDLIFE GT Race 1. And there's the battle for 3rd place. Dana going to come down to the last lap.
Trying to figure out a way around him, but it's hard to get around the guy when the guy is taking the only section of the track that has any grip.
And they've still got a lap and a quarter to go. Look at Pacelli braking sort of on the racing line here, but he's been going tight through here the last couple of times. Now he's going to follow Magnussen onto the wet line. And how he puts down power here is critical. Magnussen a little bit wider and pulls away just a touch. This is a great fight. Watching drivers that are so grip limited.
I'm very curious to know the strategy here, how he's going to try to get around him.
Opportunity. Pacelli up the inside at turn 1. Does Magnussen give way? He's going to keep him tight to the inside. There's a lap car of Alex Pites. They're door to door. for third place and nowhere to go with the lap car. They're going to split him 3 wide on the outside of $1 million corner. Pacelli's going to carve under and try to throttle down in that naturally aspirated V6. He'll have to try it somewhere else.
That was incredible. That's not what you expected to see coming here. And now Pacelli's trying to figure out how is he going to get around him. Half a lap to go. He has a little bit more pace, but where do you use it?
Yeah, again, it's just tough. Again, he's back on that more traditional racing line and losing a little grip here. Magnussen, he's learned quick. His first time ever here at Autobahn Country Club.
Pacelli keeps trying the dry line, and sometimes he can get away with it, but sometimes it's not quite working so much.
All the while, up front, Gorelias is going to be making his way through the last couple of corners. And look at Pacelli on the outside, going to get squeezed there, but he's got the outside around Magnussen. He's going to take third place away. Checkered flag waving. Valdez Gorelias wins GRIDLIFE GT Race 1. Pilipchik's going to pick up second, but look at that brave move to the outside. Pacelli takes the spot from Magnussen, and he's only got a couple of corners left to hang on to P3 in his first ever race in GRIDLIFE GT. Chris DeLucia going a lap down. This has not gone his way in this one. Magnussen trying to drive up to the inside of the 78, down into the braking zone here for turn 11. Is there any time left for that 330 to come back?
Crawling through turn 11, still very, very slippery. He's just got to make it through 2 more corners, and he's got this third place result.
And he's got it, I think. I don't know, unless he makes a mistake here. Magnussen doesn't have enough to get back to it. Stout defense, but he's not going to do it well enough. Pilipchik, second place. Anthony Pacelli steals third place, picks the pocket of Magnussen at the very end there. That was great driving. Magnussen fourth, and Alex Moss should come home in 5th place here. See DeLucia coming across the stripe. That was a disappointing 10th for him. But Valdez Gorelias by 42 seconds. Masterclass in the rain.
Incredible. Great drive. You can see the experience every single lap. 41 seconds a lap on a, what, 8-lap race, 7-lap race? That's an incredible finish.
Yeah, and here's a look at it again as he comes across the stripe. And he was the only one for a while. And this was post-victory. Going down into turn 1. Great work there by Valdez Gorelias. Colin King finishes up. He almost lapped. How many cars he left? Up to DeLucia in 10th. And this field was really close in practices and qualifyings that we saw earlier. Let's have a look here at our race results for this event. And Valdez Gorelias by 42 seconds over Eric Pilipchik. Have to give Pilipchik a lot of credit as well in the 247 car. But Anthony Pacelli, what a great job on the outside there, Dana. It got tight, but he did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to wonder if this is the largest gap from first to second we've seen yet in GLGT.
Yeah, and then Alex Moss, P5, Hans Orpedal, Colin King. And Alex Bites couldn't hit the disappear button there in the middle of that battle for third place. Calzada and Adam Ulrich, I don't think, took the green flag in this one, but that was fun to watch. Have a look at some highlights here from GRIDLIFE GT race number 1. And GRIDLIFE GT race 1 here at Autobahn Country Club, just on the tail of a lunchtime storm into turn 1. Valdez Gorelias from the get-go, from the tail of the field, drove around the outside at turn 1, gripped up, stole second place from Hans Orpedal in the opening moments, then took the lead from Magnussen, who was just kind of figuring out how to walk like a newborn deer around Autobahn Country Club in the wet. And he just lit the afterburners and set sail. And then behind, this was the battle for third place. This got really dicey between Anthony Pacelli and Eric Magnussen, and Alex Bites nowhere to go, split it 3 wide. And Pacelli had to wait till later in the lap to get the job done. And checkered flag to Valdez Gorelias. GRIDLIFE GT Race 1, a masterclass of racing in the wet.